Imagine a world where the Eiffel Tower is a minaret, where the heart of Rome beats to a different drum. This isn't a fantasy. It was a very real possibility in the 8th century. The story of how this future was prevented is found in the fields of France or the hills of Spain, but at the walls of one legendary city, Constantinople. This is the story of the Great Siege of 717, the battle that truly saved Europe. By the early 700s, the Umayyad Caliphate was an unstoppable force. In less than a century, they had forged an empire stretching from India to the Atlantic coast of Iberia, North Africa, Spain. The Persian Empire all had fallen. Now only one prize remained to secure their dominance over the known world: Constantinople, the jewel of the Byzantine Empire and the gateway to Europe. The Caliph Suleiman wasn't taking any chances. He assembled one of the largest invasion forces the world had ever seen. Historical accounts, though likely exaggerated, speak of over 120,000 soldiers and a fleet of nearly 2,000 ships. This wasn't just a raid. It was a full-scale invasion meant to erase the Byzantine Empire from the map once and for all. Their plan was simple: surround the city by land and sea, starve it into submission, and then pour into the Balkans and beyond. Inside the city, the situation was dire. The Byzantine Empire was weakened by decades of civil war and instability. But it had three crucial advantages. First, their new emperor, Leo III, a brilliant military strategist who had risen from humble beginnings. Leo was not a man to back down from a fight. Second, they had the legendary Theodosian walls, a triple-layered fortification that had never been breached. And third, they had a secret weapon, a terrifying invention that would change the course of the battle: Greek fire. In the summer of 717, the massive Umayyad army arrived and began their siege. The blockade was total. The city was cut off from all supplies. As the months dragged on, the people of Constantinople began to starve. But they held on, their spirits buoyed by Emperor Leo's leadership. The real turning point came at sea. The Umayyad fleet, confident in their numbers, tried to blockade the Golden Horn, the city's main harbor. This was the moment the Byzantines had been waiting for. Their smaller, faster ships, equipped with siphons, sailed out to meet the enemy. Suddenly, jets of liquid fire shot across the water, sticking to the wooden hulls of the Umayyad ships and even burning on the water itself. It was Greek fire. Panic ensued. The Arab fleet was thrown into chaos as their ships burned, and the naval blockade was broken. But the siege on land continued. A brutal winter set in, one of the harshest in memory. Snow covered the ground for over 100 days. The besieging army, unprepared for such conditions, suffered terribly. Starvation and disease ran rampant in their camp. Stories tell of desperate soldiers resorting to eating their own camels, horses, and even resorting to cannibalism. The once mighty army was being slowly ground down by cold and hunger. Come spring, reinforcements arrived for the Arabs, but it's too little, too late. Leo had forged a crucial alliance with the Bulgars to the north, who saw the invaders as a threat to their own lands. The Bulgars launched a surprise attack on the weakened Umayyad army, inflicting devastating casualties. Caught between the city's walls and the Bulgar warriors, the Arab forces were shattered. In August of 718, after 13 long months, the siege was over. The remnants of the once grand army and fleet retreated. It was a catastrophic defeat for the Caliphate. It's estimated they lost over 100,000 men and almost their entire fleet. This wasn't just a lost battle. It was a blow from which their ambitions in the east would never fully recover. So why was this battle so important? Had Constantinople fallen, the door to Europe would have been wide open. The weakened and fractured kingdoms of the continent would have stood little chance against the organized might of the Caliphate. The defeat at Constantinople halted their advance into Eastern Europe for centuries, allowing the kingdoms of Europe time to develop and solidify. It preserved the unique culture, religion, and political structures that would eventually shape the modern Western world. While the Battle of Tours in 732 is often cited as the moment that saved Christendom, the siege of Constantinople 15 years earlier was arguably far more decisive. It stopped a much larger invasion force at the very gates of Europe. So the next time you think about the great turning points in history, remember the brave defenders of Constantinople and their emperor, Leo III. Remember the unbreakable walls, the terrifying Greek fire, and the battle that ensured Europe would remain Europe. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a forgotten piece of history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories you might have missed in school. See you next time.